Of course, the big news of the day is Microsoft is making a $10 billion investment over several years in OpenAI. That is the artificial intelligence research lab that's behind ChatGPT and DALL-E. Let's talk about that more and the future of AI with Ivana Delevska. She is founder and CIO of Spear Invest. That is a fundamental asset manager and an ETF issuer specializing in investments in industrial technology value chains. Ivana is also the PM of the Spear Alpha ETF. And Ivana, it's great to have you. Microsoft, of course, is taking headlines today for its investment in AI. But I look at your notes and I see that you're particularly bullish on Nvidia when it comes to getting exposure to that industry. Why Nvidia?
That's right, Katie. Thanks for having me on. So we are really looking to invest in the value chain behind these companies and behind AI, and we're very positive on AI as a trend. So it's really going to be interesting to find the opportunities of companies that offer infrastructure that is enabling AI. And Nvidia is one of those companies. Basically, their GPU processors are behind a lot of these language models that are used to train and use AI.
So give us a sense here of what we're talking about here. We're talking about a specific technology, the CUDA technology. Explain that for folks who don't necessarily understand it.
So really, this all goes back to NVIDIA's base GPUs. A few years ago, the company realized that these GPUs that were previously used for gaming can be used for broader applications. So the company invested significantly in CUDA, which is an architecture that is now used by most companies building an AI. And the trick here is that to use the CUDA architecture, you need to be using NVIDIA's GPUs. So this is why we see a lot of the companies that are training models today using NVIDIA's hardware to do it on.
So it sounds like you're really investing in sort of the picks and shovels of AI, but would you ever consider a name like Microsoft that is just putting a lot of muscle into the space?
Well, Microsoft is as well pretty well positioned. We just think NVIDIA is a little bit more of a concentrated way to play AI, but we think Microsoft could benefit here as well, as they're one of the first movers into training these large language models.
Well, give us a sense here, Ivana, sort of what the promise is, because there's obviously a lot of hype surrounding this right now. I've seen some really wild growth numbers thrown out there. I guess the question is, what's different now? Because we've been here with AI, and of course, the previous iterations of ChatGPT. We've been here before, I think, with the general infrastructure. What is it now that where we stand today that people see such a degree of acceleration in the use case for these products, for this technology?
Well, that's a great question. I think that what people are missing today is the development that we've gone through over the past 3 to 5 years. So we've really gone from models that are trained on maybe a few 100 million parameters to language models with over 500 billion parameters. So the power of the language models that are used today is going from models being able to either predict sentiment or answer basic questions from a transcript to models that can generate their own conclusions, basically. So that's really the difference that you're seeing.
Is there a business model there, I guess a monetization model there, that this moves on from just being one of those gee whiz scientific things that we all sort of applaud to the ability for these companies to actually make money using the ChatGPT and the underlying technology?
Well, that's going to be the big question. That's why we really like NVIDIA as an investment, because they will win no matter what platform and what use cases win, right? So they will, today, basically, AI is used a lot in recommendations. So they would be used in the consumer space by companies like TikTok or e-commerce platforms trying to predict what you would like to buy or see. Another use case is these language models, right, where they're able to maybe be used as chatbots, as customer service areas, right? And then a whole new use case is where AI can generate conclusions. And that's really the newest area that we've been focused on. But what we really like about NVIDIA is that they will get exposure and win no matter which one of these platforms has a good usable use case.
So, Ivana, you like Nvidia for this AI story. It seems like Wall Street does too. But talk to us about semiconductors broadly. What is your current feeling on that industry?
So that's a great question, Katie. Semiconductors are just emerging from a very significant down cycle that they've been going through over the past year. Basically, what happened was with COVID, a lot of people were staying at home using their PCs, doing a lot of gaming. And at the beginning of last year, that demand significantly slowed down once the Fed started increasing interest rates. So you really saw in a lot of these businesses where there is a lot of inventory in the system, you really saw demand drop off a cliff. So Nvidia had to write down significant inventory, over $1 billion 2 quarters ago. Other companies had to do the same. So what we're seeing now is that inventory rebalancing. TSMC reported earnings 2 weeks ago, and the company said that they are starting to see some stabilization in the market, and they're planning on second half of 2023 recovery.
All right, Ivana, great to catch up with you. Ivana Delevska, their founder and CIO over at Spear Invest, making an interesting call here on how Nvidia might actually be a more straightforward way of playing all the hype and attention right now given to AI and ChatGPT. Still ahead, we continue.